Hey guys, it's me again, and in this lesson, I'm going to be taking you through the process of maintaining a project. So, the stuff I'm about to show you here is intended for administrators or system managers, and raters won't be able to perform any of the functions I'm showing you now. And to do the maintenance of a project, obviously, we'll navigate to the projects menu on the left hand side and enter the projects module. The difference in terms of maintaining a project as opposed to creating a project, well, creating a project is exactly that. It's your first time setup, and your maintenance of a project are functions that you would perform while the project's active or during the life cycle of the particular project. So I'm just going to start at the very top level and work my way through all the functionality. And yeah, hopefully you'll get an idea of everything you can perform as an administrator. So starting with the project's listing, there's some functionality on the table here to sort. So if you click on any of the heading names, for example, project name, if you click on it, you'll see an up arrow, and that's going to sort the projects by name ascending. That will be descending, and clicking it again will reset it to default. And again, you can do this across actually any tables within the WAMI system. Then you will see that you've got some statuses to indicate whether project's active or inactive or still in its draft phase. To reiterate, an active project means candidates can go and submit interviews to this project. An inactive project means they no longer have access to that. And a draft project is a project that has yet to be launched. Now, just something else to note, if you do make a project inactive, it just means that your candidates can't submit interviews, but your raters can still go and rate interviews that were submitted to that project. To change the status, you can click on the three dots on any project and you'll have the option to deactivate if it's active, alternatively activate if it's inactive. Then clicking on the project name will take you to the project screen or project dashboard, and that's the same as clicking on the three dots and clicking view project. We'll get back to the same screen. From here, we can edit the project, or going back, clicking on the three dots, we can go click edit project and go directly into the edit screen. So here, when you want to edit a project, maybe you want to change the name, you can do that. You can change the intro video that a candidate sees before they begin their interview. And if this wasn't an open project, you could change the end date if you need to extend it. So maybe you got some candidates who had some issues. Maybe they weren't available to do the interview on leave or something like that, and they've requested some more time. You can do that. You can edit the end date, or you can go and make it an open project so that there is no definitive end date. Then a department cannot be edited once the project's been created. So if you created this project and you selected the wrong department and it has been launched, you're not going to be able to change this. So I'd recommend deactivating the project and creating a new one. Then you can change the default email template to be used when inviting candidates, the send from email address, and the reply to email address. If you're not sure what these are, go back to the lesson where we cover creating a project and adding candidates. Then your raters. With your raters, you can add new raters to a project at any point, provided they belong to the relevant department that was selected. You can remove a rater provided that they have not completed any ratings for a candidate. Once they've completed a rating, you won't be able to remove it because there's now data linked to that. Then under candidates, so in the create a project lesson, we covered adding candidates. There were two ways, adding them on this screen here and then adding them via the project invite link. But if you did add some candidates here, so you had a short list of candidates that you manually added to the system, and then maybe a week into the project, there was additional candidates that you would like to add to the same project, you can do that. Once you've added them, after a few minutes, they will also receive an invitation email. Then lastly, questions. So questions can be edited provided that no candidate has completed an interview for this project. So in other words, the moment a candidate has completed their interview for this project, you will no longer be able to edit the questions here or add questions or change the times or anything like that. And the reason is it would be unfair to that candidate or the candidates who have already completed it to then go change it later, and could open up room to manipulate the process and provide favoritism to certain candidates. So just to reiterate, once a candidate has completed the interview for this project, you won't be able to change anything here. So that's covering the editing of a project, so the ongoing maintenance of a project. Then there's some functionality you can perform within an actual project around the candidates. To do this, you can get to the project's dashboard. And again, you can get there by clicking on the project name or by clicking on the three dots and clicking project. And here we're going to show you the listing of all the candidates who have registered along with their status that you've assigned to them and their actual interview status, so whether they've completed it, if it's in progress, or whether there's no interview at all. So functions you can perform here on candidates. If I click on the three dots, we can see there's the option to upload a CV. We've covered this previously, but if you want to upload a CV for a particular candidate, you can click on the three dots, click upload CV, and browse to your file structure, select the file, select open, or you can just drag and drop the file there. And then on the rating screen or the view interview screen, your raters will be able to see that CV. From here as well, there's certain functions available once it's completed, and certain functions are grayed out when it's not completed, as you can see here. So for example, if we've got someone who has not completed the interview, we can resend the initial invitation, or we can email them on the fly. We've covered emails previously, but to show you, you can just type one up on the fly, maybe reminder for interview. We can say hi. Remember, we've got the dynamic fields, so we'll go to candidate info, candidate first name. Although in this scenario, I'm sending it as a one-off, so you might not need to use a variable because you know who you're sending it to. So I'll type it, Baron. Please complete your interview. And I could send that off. Or if I had previously saved a template for reminders, so maybe that's one, I could just use that and then send it off, and the candidates will get this email and they can then go in if they want to complete it and actually go and do the interview. Something else you can do at the same time, you can send an email, but you can also change their status when sending that email. So maybe I want to put it on hold. Maybe I've advised my raters not to rate anybody on hold, or whatever the case might be, depending on your workflow. And you can provide a note as to why you're giving it the status. And you can do all of that in one go. Then jump into the additional functionality here. So once a candidate's been or completed the interview, you'll see the option here to resend the invitations grayed out. That's because they've already completed it, so there's no point in sending that out. You can still email the candidate for whatever reason. So maybe they've completed this and you now want to get them into a face-to-face interview, or you want them to complete psychometrics, or whatever the case might be. You can then again select the email candidate option, and go type out whatever email you would like to send them, or use one of your existing templates. Then we've got the view interview option, which we've covered before. It basically takes you directly to the interview, as if you were a rater and you wanted to go rate it now. So just to show you that, I'll click it and it takes me back to this screen, which we covered in the previous lesson. Then we've got a view ratings report. If I click this, view ratings, we'll then see a report that only administrators and system managers can get. But essentially what this does is it will show you for this particular candidate all the raters who have completed their rating. The summary is the overall rating. So if at the moment only one rater has completed a rating for this, but if I had 10 raters, then I would see all 10 on the list with their final rating and their final comments. And if I'd like to see the ratings per question, I can see that, and I can actually see what the question was. And see the individual comments and ratings. Again, if there were 10 raters, I would then see all 10 users here, provided that they've actually completed their rating. I'll come back to the screen, but clicking on these three dots, so that's viewing the ratings. We covered emailing a candidate. If we want to change the status without emailing them, we can do that. We can change status, and we can do that on a one-off level. Then we've got the option to remind incomplete raters. So at the moment, this is sitting here, and this is per individual or per candidate. If you've got any raters who have not completed their ratings for this candidate, you click this option here. All your raters will receive an email to go and complete the rating for this, or all your raters who have not completed it will receive an email to go and complete it. But we're actually going to be moving this out into its own separate button. And when you click that button, it's going to check all your candidates at once and send an email to your raters for all candidates who have not been completed. Then we've got the option to reset an interview. So where this would be used is in situations where maybe the candidate said they could hear themselves when doing the video and audio test, but in actual fact, they couldn't. And then when you want to go and view the interview, you can see the video, but there's no audio to that. In that scenario, you can reset the interview, which will resend the invitation to the candidate and allow them to redo that entire interview. And again, you can use this at your discretion. If a candidate asks, look, they would really like the chance to redo this entire interview because they do it to the best of their ability, whatever the case might be, you can decide that. And if you want to give them another chance, you can click reset interview, and that will allow them to redo the interview. And that pretty much covers the options that you've got here. Just something to note, if we go edit a project and we go to candidates and we want to delete a candidate from a project, if they've completed an interview, you're not going to be able to delete them. But if they have no interview completed, then you will be able to delete them. So this option here, delete. And just to complete that circle, if you were to, so let's say we wanted to delete this candidate, they have got a completed interview, but we want to delete it, you could click on the three dots, click reset interview, and then go edit the project and actually delete them. All right, then I mentioned I wanted to come back to the view ratings report. And just to show you, there's some additional functionality here. So I'm the administrator. I've now viewed all the ratings my raters have provided, and I maybe need to do the final decision or take the next steps. I could then go and update the status directly from here, which we've covered in previously, or I could email the candidate from here, or I can go and view the interview for myself from here. So just some additional functions and shortcuts for administrators to quickly perform actions on a particular candidate. Then again, we've kind of covered this, but I just want to go into a little bit more detail or just cover it again. If we click the show filter option here, you'll see these lovely filters appear at the top, and this will allow you to group or show a listing of all candidates that meet the requirements you specified here. So for example, if I wanted to only see the candidates who have completed, I can click interview status complete, click filter, and you can see now that it changes it to 2 because only 2 have actually completed it. It does apply all the metrics at once. So if I wanted to say I want all the complete interviews with nationality Australian, none of these will meet that, so it should be a blank list. If I click filter, it removes that completely. So what I want to show you is that you can apply multiple filters and they will all take effect to give you the end result here. So again, if you wanted to clear it and go back to default and see everything, you can click reset. But if I wanted to see all males over the age of 30, it's a bit tricky, 30, whose home language is English, and maybe average rating of yes. I'll view the interviews. Sorry, I was supposed to click filter there. Sorry about that. Let me go back. Show filter. So I said gender, male, over 30, and average rating was yes, and home language was English. If I click filter, again, it's applying all these metrics to show me a list, and none happen to meet that list. So I'll reset that. And the reason you would actually want to do this is so that you can actually perform bulk actions to users. So for example, if I wanted to send a reminder to everybody who hasn't completed an interview, I'd go to interview status incomplete, click filter. Now it only shows me the remaining ones that meet those metrics or those filters. I can then click this checkbox here, so it's selecting multiple, and then I would have 2 options appear here, which is email candidates. So when I select this, based on all the candidates selected below, whatever email I type here or whatever email template I select here, those candidates all selected will receive this email. And if I wanted to maybe change their status, so maybe I told my candidates don't, or just ignore everybody who's got the don't rate option or the exclude option or status, you can do that and you can perform bulk actions to these candidates. And that covers the maintenance of projects. I hope it made sense, and thank you for watching.